Hello, it's been a long time since I've made a video. It's been about a year since I've made this sort of video, the talking to the camera kind of video. My last post was, I think, like 8 months ago or something. And I've just been taking this year to really process everything that's been happening. And I'm sure a lot of people out there have been doing the same thing. It's been a very transformative and strange year. And I'm feeling called to start sharing things again, start finding my voice again, and just being vulnerable and honest. And it feels like my heart and the world are ready for more vulnerability, more authenticity, and more openness in general. And I find that I have been making these videos for so long. I started making videos in 2014. And the vast majority of them have been deleted. I've made multiple channels, and I never stick with it. And I don't stick with it, a lot of it's because I've been so deep in my process of figuring out who I am and what it is I have to say, that at times I just don't feel ready to say anything, confident in what I have to say. But a lot of times, social media is so strange. All of these platforms are so strange, with all of the likes and the commenters and the weird social statuses that occur based on how many subscribers you have, and there's a lot of sort of anxiety around that and self-consciousness around that. And in my early days of making videos, I would often, I'd wake up in the middle of the night, kind of in like a panic attack, and be like, oh my God, I shouldn't have posted that. And just delete my whole channel, that kind of thing would happen to me. And I'm getting past that. I've left up the videos on this channel for a long time. Even though I go back and look at some of those videos, I'm like, who's that guy? I don't know who that guy is. But I'm still proud of them, and I still feel good about them. And I don't know where the future of this channel is going. I don't know where any of this is going. I don't know what's happening at all, which is the topic of this video, preparing for the unknown, how to prepare for the unknown. But I do know that I have a voice, and my voice wants to be shared, and it's a very noisy world that we live in now, and there's so many people sharing their voice, which I think is great, but things get noisy. And I often find myself asking, well, do I really want to contribute to the noise? There's a certain part of myself that I think would be very happy just living a very introverted life, alone on the land somewhere, a few close friends, occasional social outings. I check my email once a week. Part of me would love that. But that's not the world that I was born into. The world that I was born into is this profound evolutionary state of existence where people are becoming more and more interconnected every day, and that geographical limitations are being broken down, and paradigm limitations are being broken down, and people are expressing and learning and have access to things that they never had access before. And all of this stuff is building, and all of this stuff is shifting who we are and what our cultures are, and how we relate to ourselves and the land and the world around us. It's all changing so rapidly. So there's another part of me that has this voice and wants to speak and wants to be a part of it and wants to engage and say, yeah, let's be a part of this transformation. Let's be a part of this golden age of content, the birth of the new media, all of these beautiful things. There's a part of me that's really excited about the prospect of being part of that. And then this voice comes in and is all concerned about, well, what if other people have already said what I have to say, and well, how do I make money, and all of this. Preparing for the unknown. All of that's the unknown. I don't know what the future holds. None of us do. And any of us who thought we did know what the future held, this past year has taught us that we didn't know shit. We didn't know anything. And even people who I would used to look up to and be jealous of and think, oh man, their lives were all sorted out, like their finances are sorted out, I wish I could be like them. their lives got turned upside down, their finances crumbled, they ended up being forced to relocate, the relationships ended, they got sick, they didn't get sick, someone they knew got sick. No one is immune to the unknown. No one is immune to the unknown, and yet we must learn to act in the face of that unknown, regardless. Regardless, we must learn to act in the face of the unknown. And so, how do we prepare for the unknown? Well, right now, that's my entire life. I'm learning to prepare for the unknown. I am preparing to relocate and travel for a while. And I'm going to be getting on a plane and going to another country that I've never been to. I haven't been on a plane in 9 years. I'm going to live out of a backpack for an unknown amount of time with nothing but the clothes on my body, the stuff in my bag, and some money in my pocket that I've been blessed to be able to save up during these very tumultuous times. It's not an infinite amount of money, but I don't know. I don't know what comes next. All I know is that the whole universe seems to be pointing to this truth that my life as it has been is coming to a closure, and that the seeds I've been planting for many, many years of a new life are starting to germinate and starting to sprout. And there's an invitation for me to leave, for me to once again head out into the world after this year of deep and beautiful and extremely uncomfortable and challenging internal processing. This year that has forced myself and so many to just be with ourselves and look at the things that are unresolved, look at the fear, look at the pain, look at the things that we hadn't looked at before, to go deeper than we had before, to reevaluate our relationships, our relationship with just about everything, with ourselves, with other people, with the very concept of safety and security. These relationships have been profoundly tested and turned over and investigated over this past year. And there's a knowing and a guidance within myself that says, go out into the world and discover more. Go out into the world and start to serve. Go out into the world and be who you really are, without fear, without trepidation or judgment or doubt. Go into the world and be who you are. And those who resonate with that will find you. And together you will build something beautiful. And I believe this is a deep truth for myself and for others. And so that voice that stops me from picking up the camera because, maybe I don't feel good about my looks, or maybe I'm self-conscious about the fact that the camera gets shaky and it's not super professional, or maybe the mean commenters from the past are still echoing in my mind, That's just the voice of doubt. Doubting that everything will fall into place as it should and as it must when we live the truth of who we are, and we allow that truth of who we are to move through us into the world. When we hide the truth of who we are, those people who are here to help us can't find us. And when other people hide who they really are, we can't find them. And so it's so important, preparing for the unknown. This is, if I'm going to make a list of things necessary to prepare for the unknown. Number one, be who you are. Be who you really are. And recognize the voices in your head that say you should be something else as just that. That process can be complicated, it can be messy, it can take time, it might involve some trauma healing, it might involve some reevaluation, some investigation of your motivations, all of these things, some hard truths to look at, but this is the process that we're engaged in. Know who we are, be true to who we are, and differentiate within ourselves between the voices of doubt and the voices of truth. And when we can do this, we can move through the unknown, and whatever happens, happens. Whatever happens, happens. You know? We can live and survive with far less than most people believe. Far less than most people believe. This is what living in a van and being a minimalist has taught me, is that, man, I have very little compared to other people and compared to what my culture and society says I should have in order to be comfortable and safe. But I also have way more than a lot of people. And there's a form of safety and comfort that comes from somewhere else, that comes from something deeper than having a roof over your head and having a comfortable bed to sleep in at night, right? There is a different kind of safety and a different kind of comfort. The safety in knowing that I am not alone in the universe and that I am guided by something greater and higher than myself. The safety in knowing that those who are meant to come into my life to help me will show up, and that I will be able to come and show up in the lives of those who need me. There's a safety in that knowing. And there's a comfort in being able to be who we truly are. There's a comfort in that safety. So how to prepare for the unknown? Number one, be who you are and commit to a path of distinguishing who you are from who you are not. And when the wind interferes with the microphone, don't worry. It'll probably still sound fine. So, I don't think there's a number two, actually. I don't think there's actually a number two about how to prepare for the unknown. Maybe it's just acceptance. Accepting that the unknown is part of life and it is inevitable, and that it is here as part of the great mystery to support the evolution and transformation of all things in the name of what is good and holy. And if we can trust that, if we can trust the unknown to be in service of life, then we can navigate it. You know, be who we are. Trust and acknowledge and accept the unknown. Number three, just allow life to happen. A surrender. Surrender to each moment and each difficulty and each challenge. During this past year, I found myself dealing with some difficult stuff. I remember some of the videos I was making last year, I was going deeper into my relationship with smoking and trying to quit smoking. Man, my relationship with smoking got worse before it got better. And the only way I could get through it was just surrendering to it. Like, okay, this is what's happening right now. I'm okay. You know, loving myself through it. Smoking half a pack a day, you know, like spending way too much money at Starbucks, drinking tons of espresso and just chain smoking cigarettes and listening to politics. It was a toxic pattern cycle that I was living for much of the summer and the fall. Because it was a scary time, and there was a certain part of my nervous system, a certain part of my being that could not surrender to the unknown. But even that process that I was in served me to bring up deeper levels of healing and deeper levels of evolution and transformation, where I'm not smoking anymore. And I have a very different relationship to the unknown. And I'm now experiencing deeper levels of peace and acceptance in my life than I've ever experienced before. And in the future, I might go into some of those really difficult places again. But I know, I trust that those deeper places are also part of my evolution and transformation and growth. And so I will be able to surrender them a little bit deeper and a little bit more easily than I have in the past. So, how to prepare for the unknown. Number one, be who you are. Number two, accept that the unknown is part of life. Trust it, embrace it, receive it into your life. And three, surrender to the process and the journey. And that's it. All right, I think that's a good video. First time back in a while. All right, thanks for watching. Peace.